Okay. So this is the second step on just kind of getting yourself prepped and prepared for the self-portrait project. Yesterday we gridded the gray paper, so that should look like this. So if you haven't done that yet, then you need to watch the demonstration video on how to grid the actual drawing paper, okay? So on this particular project, we're not going to be enlarging our photo reference like we did on the oil pastel project. So our photograph and our drawing is going to be the same size. So that will hopefully help with doing the drawing. So it's going to be to scale, all right? So I've got an example here of one that is finished and one that is not. So I'm going to show you guys how to do this, all right? So go ahead and grab your picture, the one that you're choosing to do. And I am going to, just for the sake of the video, use a metal ruler. Now on my metal ruler, the measurements do start at the end of the ruler. So my measurements start at the end of the ruler, whereas if most of you guys are probably using these acrylic rulers. The measurement does not start, I don't know if you can see, does not start at the end of the ruler, but starts at where it says 0. So you need to make sure that you're aware of that, okay? All right, so what I'm going to do, and I'm going to drop this down a little bit so you guys can see. So right on top of the photo, I'm going to put my ruler right on top here, and I want to make sure I'm going to be using a regular pencil. You guys should be using a 4H pencil. And you want to match up the end of your ruler, or where the measurements start at 0, with the end of the photo here. And I'm going to literally grid this out the same way I did my paper. So I need to mark at every inch. I need to make sure I'm sitting up for this. Zoom in. Okay. So again, you need to mark at every inch. You need to be very accurate with this. Do not speed through this step. And make sure that you're making your marks really defined, so that way it's matching up there. You don't want to be sloppy, because if you're sloppy, you're not going to know how to line this stuff up. So after you mark every inch here at the top, just go ahead, don't turn your photo. Go ahead and take your photo and kind of scoot it up. And then I want you to take your ruler, put it at the very bottom of your photograph. And again, make sure that the 0 mark, or the measurements, are starting and lined up right there with the edge of your photo. Okay? Now again, my measurements start at the end of the ruler, but yours most likely doesn't. You need to make sure the 0 is lined up with that. And then I'm going to do the same thing. Mark every inch. You need to be very defined with this and precise. Okay? So now what I would do is, let's turn our photo now so that it's on its side. I'm going to start up here at the top again. So again, take your ruler, match it up with the end of your photo. Again, make sure that the 0 mark is there. And you're going to, again, mark very precisely every inch. Okay. After you're finished doing that, don't turn your paper. Just lower it. Lower your ruler so that now you have your ruler at the bottom of your photograph. And you're going to measure every inch again. So now that you're finished, you should have those marks all the way around. So now you can use your ruler and you're going to line up your marks. You want to make sure that you're lined up really well. And now you can just draw those grid lines right on top of the photo. Now with the oil pastel project, I printed your photographs onto grid paper. It wouldn't work with this project just because we needed the photograph to be so large. So because the photograph needed to be 8 by 10, we have to actually create our own grid on top. So take your time, draw those lines across. You don't have to be so concerned about doing nice light lines on this just because this is the photograph. This is just the reference. But you certainly don't want to make a mistake. If you make a mistake on drawing these lines and you try to erase it, most likely you're going to erase away the photograph on the paper. So you need to be very accurate with this. Alright, so once you got those lines done for the one, then you can turn it and do the other. Okay, so once you're finished with that, just like your drawing paper, we numbered around the outside of our drawing paper. I want you to number around your photo. So that'll help you kind of keep track of what you're doing and where you're at. So just start with 1 and then work your way across or down. But the numbers should be exactly the same as what you have on your paper. So you have 8 columns across on your photo, you should have 8 columns on your drawing paper. So number it. Also too guys, if you have your cell phones out, if you could do me a favor and put them away. Like away, not just like on the floor, over on the counter, out of arm's reach, because I want everybody completely focused on what they need to do. So, here are the pieces. Let's see here. Flip this up so you can see it all. There we go. Okay. So obviously our paper is bigger than our photo, and that's just so we can get a border around that photo. That's going to be very helpful later on. Not so obvious why now, but you'll appreciate it later. Okay? So this is what it should look like when you're done. So I'll give you guys a few minutes to get that done. And then we'll move on to the next step.